A lot of the, if we had a couple hours, I'd like to tell you about a lot of the old-time pilots that I've known. Most of them are no longer with us. Johnny Barassa went down, I believe, east of this lake here, Great Slave. I was down in a Ronca sedan between Fort Franklin and Fort Norman, and search and rescue was flying DC-3s, hauling fuel, well, to fuel themselves, I guess. They were looking for Barassa out east of the lake here. They finally found his plane, but they never found him. He abandoned, the plane was on the shore, he was running out of gas, and he got down all right. But they dropped fuel to me in 10-gallon kegs, and also a note tied to a wrench saying, "We will orbit till you take off." I didn't take off for a week. I was chaplain at El Dorado Mine at Beaver Lodge there about 1953 when Jack Love flew their DC-3 down from Port Radium. And they were still building the strip there at Beaver Lodge. It wasn't complete. They had a lot of gravel piled up along one side of the runway there, and Jack came in the rain at night. I and another fellow were busy putting those kerosene pots down along the runway to market. We only got about 2 of them down, and he was running out of fuel. And Jack came in there, but he was about 30 degrees off the runway, and he touched okay first time, but second time he hit the pile of gravel and took his undercarriage off, and he slid to the end of a precipice, and one of his props cut through the fuselage and the gas tank, and we rushed up there in that pickup truck we were in, and he had 3 of the natives from Great Bear Lake with him, the Airskin. And I had been with them for the previous 3 years, and I spoke that language. Really, I'm still using that language there. Anyways, one of the old-timers who were making his first trip got out of that thing. Everybody was yelling, "Don't light a match, don't light a match." And this guy says to me in Harrison, he says, "Boy, must cost these white men an awful lot of money every time they land these things." I said, that's not a normal landing you got here. I met Ernie Boff. Do you remember Ernie, Bob? Ernie was, I guess, the grandfather of the old-time pilots. I met him at Port Radium. He was flying a Norseman out of here, I think. And he had a bunch of polar bear skins on board. He had picked them up at Copper Mine there. He told me he paid 25 bucks for them, and he was selling for 50. So he had a good thing going there. And the last time I talked to Ernie was in, well, I went down to visit him. He was in Los Angeles. And at that time he told me his ambition was to live to be 100, and he did. He just got over 100 and died. Ernie Boff, he wrote a very good book. Flo Wired helped him write a very good book of his life. When I came north in '48, Canadian Pacific was running their DC-3 out of Edmonton, and the end of the line was at Norman Wells. So we stopped there and overnighted, then they went south again. Mike Zuko, whom they've named the airport after at Uranium now, Mike picked me up there with a, he had a beach biplane, and he flew me down to Fort Norman on skis. We landed on the lake there. The last time I saw Mike, he was in bed. He had lung cancer in Inuvik, and he was 68 years old, and I had passed that, and I told him that watch out for that 69th year. That was a bad one for me. 86 is becoming another bad one right now, but I'll never forget 69. I said to Mike, watch out for the 69th there, it's a bad one. And he said, I don't think I got to worry about it. And he didn't. He died right there at 68. But Mike was a great guy, and he deserves to have the airport named after him at Anuve. Another guy that used to stop in for coffee quite frequently was a pilot named Martin Hartwell. You know him, Bob. And we had some interesting conversations as how to survive when you're down. And the nurses told me that when they flew with him, they always carried a very large lunch. Probably did. Gilbert Labine is the father of uranium in Canada, and he staked up around Port Radium all along the east side of Great Bear Lake 1931, and then started his mine there, Echo Bay Mines. And about 1960, he gave me a 180 on floats that his boy Joe had, but he thought that maybe Joe's going to kill himself with it, so he wanted to get rid of it. Gilbert, it will be in the history books for what he did for uranium. And by the way, the price of uranium has jumped from $15 a pound, is it, up to what? I've heard recently it's up around $75 a pound. So a lot of the mines are shut down because the price was low. They're going to reopen, and there's a little activity right there at Uranium City. Probably a lot of that property will open again because of the price of uranium. They're out after diamonds at our place. We got a chopper working there right now, going out and picking up stones, and they associate some of the precious stones they're getting with diamonds, and they think they're going to actually come on diamonds there eventually. Maybe they are. They're getting some nice stones in there actually right now. So being contemporaries here of Bob and Rocky. I've seen the old Norsemen come and go. I understand there's one left. Buffalo Joe told me yesterday he has one here. Then we saw the beaver, and then the single otter, then the twin otter. Now we're getting the caravans. So there's a continuous changeover here in the type of aircraft that we're seeing. And being at Cova Lake, where I am now, the last 45 years, I'm seeing a lot of them come and take off there. I feel like Rocky here, I don't know how many years I gotta go, but when I do go, I want to go peacefully in my sleep, like my grandfather did, not yelling and screaming like the passengers in his car. I've written a couple of books. One of them is called Arctic Journal, and I think Yvonne has got some of them. Have you, Yvonne? Arctic Journal? Yeah. She's got some here, and I'd be glad to sign them for anybody that wants one. I got two more books coming out. One is called A Time in the Arctic. Photos. I've sold all my photos to the Prince of Wales Heritage Center here. And I was just with Chuck Arnold before I came over here. The other book is called Free Spirits, Characters of the North, that may be of interest. Those two books are not out yet. But anybody who wants me to give me their name and address, I'll send you a Christmas card with the flyers on those other two books. In the meantime, I think I can do no better than to turn this back to Bob here. You're in good hands. Thank you.